Are you prepared to transform your well-being? I'm Sanjay Raja. My mission is to challenge our perspectives on food, fitness, and overall health. I own a successful nutrition and fitness business based in Orlando, Florida. And through this experience, I've learned that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. From creating delicious and healthy recipes, to training elite athletes, and even writing the book, The Food Talk. I've accumulated a wealth of knowledge, but here's the exciting part. There's always more to discover. That's why I'm embarking on a journey to connect with leading experts, unveiling the secrets to a happier, healthier life. Together, let's explore innovative ways to enhance our well-being. This is Recipe for Wellness. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of our podcast, Recipe for Wellness. So this is going to be a fun episode because our guest has been on season 1 of our show, which is going to launch in New York City, February 2nd. So we're very excited. And then we also picked up the number 3 media market in the country in Chicago. And so we're spreading our wings all over the country. But she's going to go big time. So I want to give you a little bit of background on her. And that is, she is a medical doctor. And I met her when we were recording our episode with her in Toronto, Canada. So I don't claim to know everything. I just know that. But the amount of information she shared with me has changed my life. I've shared it with my clients in personal training, has changed their life. So I cannot do her accolades justice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on Dr. Helene Bertrand. Thank you for coming on the show. How are you?
I'm fine, Sanjay, and it's a real pleasure to be talking with you.
Absolutely. And, for those in the audience who don't know who Dr. Helene Bertrand is, Dr. Bertrand, can you kind of give us a little bit of background of who you are? Because you have so many accolades, so many credits to your name. Give the audience just exactly who you are.
Well, right, I've practiced medicine for 55 years. And in the last 12 of those 55 years, all I did was treat severe chronic pain. Doctors would send me their hopeless cases. And, people who'd been in pain for 20, 30, 40 years. And I would look at what's behind this? What be causing this? And I would look for the cause and I would treat the cause. I wouldn't try to cover it up with painkillers. I would try to see why these people were having the pain. And then I would treat the why. And because of that, my success rate was 80%. 80% of those who came to me with hopeless pain and with no pain. And
Wait. What was that term you gave me on the show? Non-specific. Remember that? Yeah.
that was for low back pain.
Right.
Did you know that 90% of I should tell you about low back pain. I had 37 years of low back pain. During my first pregnancy, I started getting this pain, and it didn't go away. Sometimes it was worse, sometimes it was better, but it never went away. And I tried physiotherapy, I tried chiropractic, I tried needle treatments, I tried acupuncture, I tried the one thing I didn't want was to use medications, because as a doctor, I knew the side effects of medications and I didn't want to expose myself. And I didn't want surgery because I knew the dangers of surgery. And so I was trying all these other methods which weren't working. And finally, that's 37 years later, I thought, I've got to figure this out myself. And so I thought, what could be the cause? And then I figured out what the cause was, and it was so obvious. I mean, why did nobody make a diagnosis before? I didn't know. But when I found out the cause and I found out a way to diagnose the cause, then the treatment was obvious, and I became pain-free. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, other people need to know that. And so I did a research project on it. I
Yeah.
proved, I proved, and it's been published in a medical journal. I've proven
Mm-hmm.
it works. And so this is when I decided I was going to tell the whole world about it. But there were so many other pains and diseases that people just covered up or treated with surgery when they didn't need surgery.
Mm-hmm.
That I felt I needed to tell the whole world about all of those things too. And because of my,
So let me stop you right there because this is an important point I want to bring to the audience, which is in the States, for example, lower back pain, and I was in the medical side of the world before I came to this side, a lot of pain medications thrown at people, a lot. And then it is then looked at as okay, lower back pain. Okay, so here's the treatment protocol. We're going to throw some pain medication. That doesn't work. Okay, we're going to immediately go to surgery now. And that's what I'm seeing here. I'm sure you saw it on your side of the world, being Canada. And what I've done after talking to you and spending time with you is I've integrated that amazing technique you showed me in myself before I get on a plane, which is fantastic. It works brilliantly before I get on a plane. And I've showed to my clients too. And you know what? They think I'm a miracle worker, but I give all the credit to you on that. I give you all the credit in the world. And I'm not going to share it on this podcast because I want people to go to your website. I want people to see it when we air our episode with you. But we can talk about it a little bit. We can allude to it. But talk to me about that epiphany that hit you, where you're talking about this. You said you did something clicked, and you said it's not what we think it is.
well, the thing is that 90% of all low back pain is called non-specific, which
Yeah.
we don't know. And
Yeah.
the reason that pain is called non-specific is that
Hmm.
it cannot be diagnosed with X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, or ultrasounds. The joints that are involved are totally invisible
Hmm.
to uh, to medical imaging. And
Yes.
in order to make a diagnosis, you actually have to put your hands on your patients and examine them. And
Yep.
that is what doctors are forgetting to do these days. They don't examine their patients with their hands. They
Hmm.
believe in lab tests, they believe in medical imaging, but part of knowing about a patient's condition is to actually put your hands on them and feel the area that's hurting. And
Yeah.
that they weren't doing. And when I finally figured it out, um, I was I went to medical school. I graduated from medical school in 1965. And
Wow.
in
Yeah.
those, we didn't have ultrasounds, we didn't have CT scans, we didn't have MRIs. All we had were X-rays
Mm.
and our eyes and our ears, everything that allowed us to find out more about our patients. Nowadays, it's it's so much, there's so little of that being done.
Yeah.
People don't listen to what their patients are saying. They don't, that they're looking at their computers and taking notes. They don't they don't put their hands on their patients. They don't look at their patients to see the way they're walking or
Hmm.
the way they sit. And if you use these things, which you were born with, you
Yeah.
can find out so much about the people that you're treating. And that's what I decided to share as part of the knowledge that I'm going to be giving to people. Because
So here, so here in the States, anytime it's non-specific pain, the first thing is a round of steroids. That's what they do,
absolutely.
right? And then From steroids, it becomes a Band-Aid, which bridges them to pain medication, which has been a big problem here. And I'm sure you've seen it there. I don't want to give our episode away because it's so amazing, the episode and the stories you tell. But you essentially looked at the system that you're in and said, I'm not going to do it this way. And tell our audience, once you told the system, I'm not going to go this route of pain medication, what happened to you?
Well, they kicked me out. They kicked me
Yeah.
of the Canadian Pain Society, because when I was a member of the Canadian Pain Society,
Mhm.
they were talking about different types of pain, and when they were talking about the low back pain, I said, did anybody check for the level of their pelvic bones? And
Mm.
it was total silence. And I said, well, once you know in what direction they're displaced, the treatment becomes obvious. They
Yep.
immediately shut me out. And
Yep.
the next day, I got a letter that I had to sign that I would never mention this again. So, like I'm not supposed to talk about something that's going to help 90% of all low back pain sufferers. That's crazy.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And shortly thereafter, they kicked me out of the society. They said I was
Mm.
never to, uh, never to go attend any of their meetings, either in person or.
Mhm.
And it's at that point that I decided to write the book on how to get rid of low back pain. And
Yeah.
the reason is that if they don't want to know about it, I want to tell the whole world.
Yeah.
Uh, because if the whole world knows about it, then they'll be able to fix themselves and they won't need chiropractors and physiotherapists and surgeons and doctors and medications. They'll be able to fix themselves.
You
And that,
you mentioned a quote. You mentioned a quote in our meeting that I've always remembered, which is you said once you were kicked out of the Royal Pain Society, you were able to practice medicine. And I remember you saying that, and I said that is so powerful because too many times medicine is dictated by outside forces which shouldn't have a role there. And we're talking about big pharma, we're talking about whatever it may be, but they just have too much influence over the medical system. And for you, especially at that time, which how long ago was that, by the way?
I was kicked out of the Canadian Pain Society in 2023, September 2023.
So that was actually pretty recent. Yeah, that's only 2 years ago, which is crazy.
Well, that's when I started writing that book on low back pain.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's when I decided that I was going to teach everybody how to relieve pain, everything from migraine headaches to burning feet.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
like everything can be helped by people at home without needing medications.
Hmm.
And that's why, and also, um, I've invented this cream that shuts down the body's main pain receptor, and it's totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So, for those people who don't know, and this is why we wanted to get Dr. Bertrand on this podcast, and I can't wait for her episode to come out. As I previewed that episode, it's very powerful, and I think it tested probably one of the best when we showed it to our network. They loved it. Um, she's kind of like the MacGyver of medicine in a lot of ways because she just takes simplest principles and creates solutions, which is amazing, especially in this day age of excessive technology. And tell us kind of tell us about this cream because I've been hearing about it and I know people can learn more about it on your website, which we'll share at the end of the podcast. But tell us about this cream, how you developed it, and what kind of results you're seeing.
well, the thing is that I went to this lecture in 2011 with a doctor from New Zealand, and he was using sugar injections around nerves.
Mm,
Sugar,
yeah,
sugar. I
yeah.
couldn't believe it. But at the end of this seminar, which lasted the whole day, he said, anybody here has severe chronic pain? And 7 people put up their hands. So these 7 people walked up to where he was. He injected around their nerves with this 5% dextrose, which is essentially sugar, around them. And all of them immediately felt no more pain. And
Wow.
I was like shocked. I was, I couldn't believe it. And so the first thing I did on Monday morning was I went home. And my first patients came in with pain. And so I took my dextrose and 5% and I injected it around their nerves, and the pain was gone. And I thought, oh my God, what's going on? And then a lot of doctors and pharmacists would come and observe what I did because it was so effective. And so this pharmacist was looking at me and she says, I've never seen pain go away so completely and so fast. She said, but people don't like injections. Why don't we make it into a cream? I said, sure, let's make it into a cream. So
Yeah.
actually, we tried 16 different bases before we found one that allowed the mannitol, which essentially every plant and every mushroom has. It's totally natural. The mannitol, by the way, the reason I'm using mannitol and not sugar is that I was treating a lot of diabetics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put sugar around the nerves of diabetics. And
Yeah.
so essentially these, I decided that what's the nearest thing to sugar? And I thought, there's one OH added to sugar that's called mannitol. And I thought, aha, that's what I want. And this mannitol is totally safe. It's been used, for instance, to treat the swelling of the brain, or it's been used to treat glaucoma or kidneys that fail and so on. So it's been given intravenously for a lot of things. And so,
Sure.
okay, that's safe. And so I started injecting mannitol around nerves. And so this pharmacist and I started making this cream. After we found that one that worked. And because the mannitol has to penetrate through the skin, and the other base creams wouldn't let it penetrate to reach the nerves, which is where this works. And so I tried it on 235 of my patients with 289 different pain conditions, everything, migraine, headaches to burning feet. And the average pain relief was, what I would do is I would give them a little container of this cream and a questionnaire. And so they had to fill out the questionnaire with the date, the time, how bad the pain was before they put it on, how bad it was 30 minutes later, how long it took before they got better, and how long the pain relief lasted. So I've got that database for these 289 different pain conditions. And the average pain relief was 53%. Okay,
Wow.
that's not 100%.
Right.
Pain relief for the most common pain creams, like Icy Hot or Voltaren, or the average pain relief is 23%. So 53% is pretty damn good. And
Yeah.
so that's essentially what I started giving my patients, except they wanted more and more and more of this cream. And I thought, I'd better find out why it is that their pain is going away so effectively. And so what I did was I said, I'll give you more cream, but you'll have to be part of my research project. And so what I did was I put some hot pepper cream on their upper lip. Do you know what peppers feel like?
Oh
They
yeah, I love spicy food. Yeah, absolutely.
they burn, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
So I put this hot pepper cream on their upper lip, And when the burning reached 8 out of 10, it's just like, it's burning.
Mhm.
On one side, I put the base cream, and on the other side, the base cream with the mannitol. I was given a pink Q-tip for the right and a blue for the left. I didn't
Mhm.
know what I was putting on. They didn't know what I was putting on. The only person who knew was the pharmacist who was handing me those two Q-tips. And so I put the cream on, and then every minute I asked them how bad the burning was on each side of their lip. And on the base cream side, the pain went down like this.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
And on the mannitol side, it went like that.
Yep.
By
Yep.
3 minutes, the probability that the two were the same was less than 2%.
Oh,
But
wow.
by 10 minutes, it was less than 1 in 1,000. Every single person knew which side was the mannitol side, because on the mannitol side, the burning had completely disappeared. And on the
Yeah.
other, it was still there. And so
Yeah.
essentially, now I know for sure that mannitol shuts down the body's main pain, itch, and inflammation receptor.
Mm.
So you can actually shut those down with mannitol, which,
So there's no side effects you're seeing from your studies at all?
yes, there is a side effect, is that the mannitol, because I put 30% mannitol inside that base cream, and what I do when I'm injecting nerves is 5%. So, but
Mm.
5% mannitol tends to crystallize. So sometimes you'll feel sort of a roughness in the cream because these are the mannitol crystals that have crystallized. That is
Mm-hmm.
the only side effect of this cream.
So
So
it could be like a sugar scrub almost, right? On your face, right?
exactly, well, it's just like sugar, except that it
Yeah.
won't hurt diabetics, and
There
it
you
won't
go.
nerve damage, which sugar does. So
Yes, absolutely.
uh,
So I want to transition over to something that's been in my mind when I thought about this podcast and talking to you, and that is our show, our TV show, our podcast is about health, wellness, travel, lifestyle. But really, what people want to know is how do they maximize their life, meaning the longevity portion, right? You've been a medical doctor and have far more experience in the medical field than I ever have, but I see clients in personal training. I do that side of it. And I see people in their 30s and 40s who are not nearly as good a shape as you are. And if you don't mind sharing your age, I know it's a personal question, but if you don't mind sharing your age.
I don't mind. I'm 82 years old.
She's 82 years old, folks. And so we have an audio and video version of this podcast, which is going to release. So if you see her on screen on the video podcast, it's quite amazing. She does not look 82. And I saw this documentary, and I think you may have heard of it. It's called The Blue Zone. It's on Netflix. And they went around to different parts of the world and they interviewed these people who live to be close to 100 or past 100. And they call these area the blue zones. And so they share their secrets about how these people are living the longest compared to other parts of the world. So I saw that documentary and I thought of you immediately because you're doing all those things. So share with our audience, you are very vibrant, you travel the world with your husband, you guys are all over the place, so it's hard to lock you down in one spot. And share with our audience because I know they're dying to know, what is it that you're doing from health, nutrition, relationship standpoint that keeps you young, keeps you vibrant, keeps you active, and you're still a practicing doctor and you're doing all these amazing things. So share with our audience kind of the secrets of your success here.
Well, the thing is that, first of all, I've learned when I was 10 years old and my grandfather died and he was 65. I
Mm-hmm.
learned that life is very short and that you
Yeah.
can't waste your time feeling bad.
Right.
And so I've decided at age 10 that I would enjoy every minute that I had. Even if bad things were happening to me, I would
Yeah.
look the silver lining in the cloud. Always
Hmm.
look for the better part of life. That was a decision I took when I was 10 years old. But then I learned a lot when I was practicing medicine, and I learned about nutrition and what
Mm.
you eat to be healthy and what you should avoid eating. And
Yeah.
what I avoid above all is ultra processed foods,
Hmm.
like the foods that you buy in boxes, the
Yep.
manufactured foods. Those manufactured foods are made to make you hungry. The reason
Yeah.
they do that, of course, is to sell more of their product. And so
Hmm.
these foods that you buy that are manufactured essentially make you want to eat more of them.
Yeah.
That's how they make their money. And
So I'm going to stop you right there because I want to share this with you because this is a point that's coming out more and more and more. We were in India for 2 weeks. I was up in the Himalayas with my kids, kind of scouting locations for season two, and just to get away from it all. I ate more carbs on that trip for 2 weeks solid than I care to, and guess what happened? I didn't feel horrible. I felt fantastic. Didn't gain a pound because everything was farm to table. Everything was. They made it fresh. It wasn't processed. So we they use a lot of chickpea flour. They use a lot of wheat flour to make the bread. And I indulged in so much bread. It was crazy. Normally, I would never do that here. And we felt fantastic. So there is a truth behind ultra processed versus fresh food. So continue, please. But it was an amazing experience just going overseas and eating food that is never processed.
and the other thing you want to eat is food that isn't polluted with all kinds of
Yes.
stuff. Um,
Yep.
like, okay, you think oatmeal is good until you learn that most oatmeal is made with glyphosate. Glyphosate,
Hmm.
something that sucks the water out of the oat grains before they they make them, and
Yep.
that is that it's easier to dry the oatmeal. Okay, well,
Yep.
it's still commercially made with glyphosate, which causes cancer. Um,
Hmm.
there's all kinds of plants that are sprayed with pesticides to
Yeah.
sure that you won't lose any of your crop. But if you spray the plants with pesticides, then you eat the pesticides. Um, there's all kinds of uh, stuff that's stored in plastic containers, but the plastic, especially if they're fluids, will leach out into the fluid, and you get these plastics that can interfere with how your brain functions. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to avoid as much as possible. So I'm trying to buy organic foods. I'm trying to avoid ever drinking from a container that's plastic. Um,
Yeah.
all these things that I'm trying to keep my body from getting polluted with all this stuff that people use to increase their production and to
Hmm.
their profits essentially. So
So that's the nutritional aspect, which I love. I think there's so much merit to this, and there's so much more is coming out about processed foods versus non-processed foods. So I think that's a conversation that I think more people are listening to. What really stood out to me about you was this one key aspect when I watched that documentary, The Blue Zone, and they said one of the key indicators of longevity is your relationships in your life. They said that's one of the biggest key indicators, and I didn't even think about that. So you have such an amazing, vibrant marriage, and you talk about it, and you just have this big smile on your face when you talk about your husband. But talk to our audience about this, which is how does this relationship that you've cultivated and maintained over the years, how does that lift you up? How does that keep you so young and vibrant? Because I think that's what's missing a lot in society today is really healthy relationships.
Well, you know something, and like I fell in love with my husband's brain. He, no, no, he's one of the most cited
Hmm.
authors in the world, and he's just brilliant, and I admire him so
Yeah.
much. And he essentially enriches my life in so many ways because we have these conversations that are fascinating because he's got all these new ideas all the time. By the way, he is going to be 91 pretty soon. And
Wow.
and
Wow.
you know, like, and we hug, we kiss, we have a wonderful sex life. We have
Hmm.
of things that we do together that are unbelievably enjoyable. We
Yeah.
go walks together, we do things together. Um, so for me, he's essentially the center of my life at this point. Um,
Yeah.
I have good relationships with other people, with
Hmm.
children and grandchildren. But as far as I'm concerned, the person who I sleep with every night is the person that I enjoy the most in the whole world. And if something happens to him, I don't know what's going to happen to me because um,
Yeah.
I've put a lot of my eggs in that one basket.
Mhm. So talk to us about how long have you been married for, first of all?
We've been together for 35 years.
35 years. Now, the divorce rates are sky high in the United States. They say basically 51% of people who get married end up divorced in the United States. It's a crazy statistic. Okay. So share with us how you've been able to maintain this relationship for that long, and you guys are still enjoying each other's company, discovering new things about each other, and just the way you talk about it so glowingly. I'm curious to know.
Well, I have to tell you that my first marriage was disastrous. And
Mm.
when I left my first husband and started living with Herb, it was like the sun was rising on the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I think that I appreciate him so much is that he is so different from what I experienced with my first.
Hmm.
So I'm not telling everybody that they shouldn't divorce. I'm telling everybody that appreciate what you've got because they're
Yeah.
very, very special and very precious. The thing is that everybody, my husband says that um, everybody comes in packages and everybody has faults that you don't, the things that you don't like about that person. But those faults uh, are nothing compared to all the wonderful qualities that your partner brings you. And
Hmm.
that's what you've got to focus on. Um, my husband is German and he's always on time. And I'm French, so
Yeah.
okay, I may not be on time all the time. And because of that, there are some degrees of friction, but then I do my very best to be on time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I'm not on time, he goes and watches TV until I am on time. So essentially,
Yeah.
we deal with each other's faults by finding ways to not be such a bother to that person.
Well,
So,
here's an interesting thing that I if you're comfortable sharing this,
what?
it's totally up to you. Which is you are so proactive, and I like to say that this podcast does not follow the rules. We like to break the rules. We like to give information that some people just don't know, and that is you mentioned that you guys have a very healthy sex life at this age,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yeah, you caught me off guard when we were talking to you, and you just blurted it out. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I got to get her on the podcast to talk about this. It's how do you maintain that level of sexual like chemistry between you two after this long?
Well, the thing is that I'm utterly lucky. because my husband is very, very good at getting things up.
There you go.
Um, that's because his circulation is excellent. And
Yes.
and the reason
Yes.
circulation is excellent is that he's physically active and he has a good
Hmm.
diet and he sleeps very well. And
Hmm.
that those are things, and he knows how to get along with people beautifully. So
Hmm.
actually, those are things that will help people keep up their abilities.
Yeah. So it comes back to the diet. It comes back to you guys lead a very active lifestyle, getting out in nature and traveling. So it lends credibility to all those things to enjoy all these other aspects of a relationship, which is fantastic. Um, we talked about the relationship part. We talked about the nutrition part. What do you do personally from a exercise part that you could share with the audience, being that you're so active, you move around great, and you can travel the world? Because I see so many people in their 40s and 50s who can barely get around, who can't travel the world, can't get on a plane. What do you do from a physiological exercise standpoint that keeps you so young?
Oh, every day I go for a walk in the forest.
Mm,
There's a beautiful forest, a 4-minute drive from my apartment. And it's a huge forest. It goes, it's 6 city blocks one way and 3 city or 4 city blocks that way. So it's a huge park. And in that park, we live on a hilly area. So that part has two beautiful streams that come and that meet and that go out. And so essentially, I'm walking up and down hills, pretty,
mm-hmm,
uh,
mm-hmm.
10,000 steps every day minimum. Uh, Yesterday was 11,500, but like every day, and I count my steps on this watch. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the key indicators they found about longevity is the amount of muscle mass you retain in your lower body, your legs. And that's what they're finding, is that they found that people of advanced age who maintain a healthy amount of muscle mass by getting up and down stairs, walking, not sitting too long, standing, they were far more likely to live a longer life than those who don't. So that lends all that credibility to what you're doing.
well, the thing is that it's so enjoyable. Um,
Hmm.
First of all, I love science and I love to learn. And so I put on a podcast and I go for my walk and I'm admiring how the sun is shining on the ferns and how the
Hmm.
it's shining in the sun and how in fact I'm in Vancouver and where the temperature is below zero at the moment and you can see the snow shining on the plants and
Hmm.
it's just beautiful. Yesterday we were at a walk on Cypress Mountain and
Yeah.
now it's covered in snow and the snow was sparkling and glittering and it's just so beautiful. That my husband and I were doing that, and it's just
Sure.
such a
Sure.
pleasure to be walking in nature. And I hope that the people who listen to your podcast get a chance
Hmm.
to go out and enjoy what nature has to offer. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. We were out in the Himalayas and we did a lot of hiking and we saw the snow-capped mountains and it was amazing. And what we found that speaks to your point was we were walking up the mountain, traversing it as best we could, and we saw these Tibetan monks who were just wearing nothing but their robes and slippers, and they went up there way faster than me because they do this every single day. They go up the mountain, down the mountain. And it was amazing. My kids were like, "Wow!" I was like, "Yeah, this is what they're used to. They know how to do this. They weren't huffing and puffing. Their breath was on point. Everything was working for them because they do this on a daily basis. And just getting out there in nature. You and I talked before the podcast. We recorded this. was the Japanese have a term called forest bathing, which is being out in nature, letting nature affect your mood in the most positive manner. So the kids and I do this after dinner every night, is just walk in the forest.
Congratulations. That's the best,
Yes,
that's the best thing you can do. And
absolutely.
by the way, exercise will allow you to get a good night's sleep. And
100%.
that is terribly important for long life. And also
Yes.
affecting your brain, because when you're sleeping, your brain is cleaning itself out of all the garbage that it's produced during the day. And
Yeah.
if you get a good night's sleep, that cleaning process doesn't occur, and all kinds of bad things happen. Oh, my phone is ringing.
It's okay. It's okay.
Off. How do I turn it off? Goodbye.
So this is so true because the only time I get sick is when I don't get enough sleep. That's the only time I get sick. Everything else is on point. Nutrition, exercise, relationships. But I've noticed that I hit that 7 to 8 hour window and I feel great. Wake up super early, get my day started. But if I'm getting less than 6 hours, I always get sick.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the bacterias in your gut also
Hmm.
need sleep. Um,
Yes.
and that's something that people don't realize, is that
Yeah.
of our inflammation is regulated by the bacterias in your gut.
Yep.
That these bacterias are making your happy neurotransmitters, like your
Yeah.
GABA, your serotonin. They're all made by the bacterias in your gut. And
Yep.
if you don't sleep properly, those bacterias essentially they change. Well, no, you need a good sleep, you need a good diet, because if your diet
Hmm.
is good, those bacterias change as well. And so if you want, and the bacterias that replace them are the ones that will attack your gut. They will
Yeah.
and create inflammation and create misery. So
Oh, yeah.
there's all
Yeah.
and the thing is that in order to feel calm and to feel happy, you need to feed those bacteria properly. And that's
Yep.
something that people are not aware of these days.
Yeah, so artificial sweeteners, sugar, all those things can kill that gut bacteria, which is where our immune system lives, right?
Exactly. Well, they don't actually kill it. It's just that the sugar, well, the artificial sweeteners do, but the sugar, what it does is it gets absorbed very quickly. And
Hmm.
so it doesn't get to where the gut bacteria can eat it. So what feeds those gut bacteria are things like leafy greens, like
Hmm.
broccoli, like things that have fiber in them. Um,
Yes.
and
Yep.
if they don't have fiber, you got a problem. So,
See, that's a problem in the States, and I do a lot of nutrition education. I talk about one of my speeches is that we are not protein deficient, we are fiber deficient in this
yes,
country, right? And we're talking about soluble, non-soluble fiber, getting it from your food because so many people are relying on supplements to get their fiber, which is the one of the worst ways to do it. Get it from your food. Get it from your food.
yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I bake my own bread out
Yes.
of hazelnut.
Yes.
And the reason I do it is because the bread that you buy here
Mhm.
uh, is manufactured.
It's
So,
made for shelf life, not for nutrition.
yeah,
That's what it's made for.
yes.
So, Dr. Bertrand, you and I could keep going with this because it's just a joy to talk to you. And I aspire when I get older to be like you, to be vibrant, young, and healthy. So, you are kind of the model that I hope everybody aspires to be. That being said, I want to make sure that our audience can find you, connect with you, reach out to you, because you're doing a lot of amazing things. So, is there a website you can share with us now where people can find you?
You can find me at drhelenebertrand.com. It's Dr. Helene Bertrand. Um, com. So no
Mm-hmm.
dots, no, it's just the letters.
Got it. Got
Uh,
it. So we'll make sure to post that below this episode so people can see it and reach out to you. Are you going to be doing any events, any stages, any books that you want to talk to us about?
well, I'd like people to have a look at my book on low back pain,
Mm-hmm.
if they have low back pain, and that's about 80+% of people
Yeah.
have. So I wrote the book because I wanted everybody to be able to get rid of their pain. So
Yes.
so the book is called Low Back Pain: 3 Steps to Relief in 2 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
and you can get it if you go to drhelenebertrand.com, or
Awesome.
you can get it on Amazon if you like to get it on Amazon.
Well, she showed me that technique, and a funny story is we were at a three-star Michelin restaurant in Toronto, Canada, and Dr. Bertrand has no shame in her game because she just gave a lesson on how to cure that lower back pain to one of our other guests. So I have all these pictures of her doing her routine, and we're in the middle of the restaurant, and she's diagnosing and fixing this problem right in the restaurant, which is fantastic. So it
Well,
works. I've tried it. I've integrated to my own stretching techniques, and it's just the simplest thing in the world.
and furthermore, it's totally safe. And
Hmm.
furthermore, it takes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So anybody who's got low back pain has 2 minutes that he could spend, or she could spend, to
Hmm.
get rid of it. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is, if you want a very good pain cream, it's called qrcream.com. And
Hmm.
that'll go to the website that I have for my pain cream. Um, as I say, the pain cream is twice as good as any other pain cream. But and if you want to know the numbers and you look at the website, it will give you the numbers. It'll tell you
Hmm.
how many people with migraine headaches tried it and how many people with shoulder pain tried it and so on. So you know on what numbers this what I'm saying is based. So
Yeah.
that essentially qrcream.com. Um, I don't know that I want to give you my personal email because I'm going crazy. Too many.
Well, you don't have to share your personal email. People can reach out to you on your website, so I want to make sure they reach out to you there.
On the website, you'll see that pretty soon I'm going to be advertising um, a webinar, a free webinar on
Oh,
the
wow.
the ways that people can use to help relieve their pain. The
Great.
the things they must concentrate on to be able to become pain-free. And so that's the webinar. And then following that webinar, I'm going to be giving a 7-week course on
Hmm.
how people can relieve their pain from everything, from problems with the head or the neck or the shoulders or the arms or so for every part of the body, there's going to be a 1 hour course lecture, and then 6 questions. So people have to answer so that they know that they've understood what I said. And the next day, those that pay for the course are going to be given a meeting, a private meeting. It's not going to be recorded, where they can talk about their concerns with whatever we've discussed the day before.
Sure.
So, so
What's the date of that webinar, Dr. Bertrand?
that webinar is going to be on May 7th.
May 7th. Okay. So what's going to happen is we're going to make sure your websites are below. People will see them, and then they can find the webinar. And then when we post your episode here, we're going to remind people of your webinar as well, too, so people can know about it.
Oh, good, because the people who are going to be part of that webinar, the people who will participate, will also get the attention of all the other participants as well as my private attention. And
Excellent.
the people who everybody who signs up for the webinar is going to get a tube of QR cream and
Wow.
the back pain book so that they'll know how to do
That's
things.
amazing. So
So
guys, let me put it this way. I got to spend about 3 or 4 hours with Dr. Bertrand interviewing her, learned so much. Her time is very valuable, so I would implore you to go on the webinar, learn from her, because she is changing lives for the better. And she's changed my life because I do that one little stretch before I get on a plane. I feel like $1,000,000. It's amazing. I love it. So, but I wanted to thank you again, Dr. Bertrand, for your time and the way you're changing people's lives. And I can't wait for the show to premiere. Show is premiering in New York in February 2nd. She is on episode 3 or 4, I believe, but she's going to go big time. You saw her here first. And what she has to share with you guys on the show is incredible. You're going to get so much out of it. But thank you again for your time and the way you're changing people's lives. And we love having you as a guest on our show.
well, thank you for having me, Sanjay. It was a real pleasure being able to talk with you again.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Dr. Bertrand. And then everybody check out another episode of our podcast, Recipe for Wellness, as we'll be posting weekly on all the major platforms. And our show is launching in New York, Chicago. We're making our way west, but we're going to be nationwide next month, and it's going to be fantastic. So I can't wait for everyone to see it. Have an awesome day, everyone. Talk to you soon.
See you, Sanjay. Bye-bye.